Let me do a video on just the tile and the cobwebs. There is absolutely no housekeeping standard for the last 14 years. Absolutely no housekeeping standard for the last 14 years. It's a disgrace. When Kirk and I was on the board, it was I, Mike McKenzie, who was responsible for housekeeping, property standards, safety, and landscaping. Okay? Kirk, technical, he was assigned the project, so we got cameras in the hallway and in the stairwells. When there is a board, you can't expect everyone just to sit there and be like dead weights and vote. We've seen boards in this building where directors contribute no ideas. I've been to meeting with some of them. They would oppose everything, people, oppose everything. So when I was chairing the board meeting, I applied Robert's rule, parliamentary practice. So if there's a motion, I give you a good example. I, Mike McKenzie, move to repair the broken tile section. So that's what we call a motion. A director moves to do this or that, okay? The next part of the process is every director is given, let's say, 5 minutes to say something. Well, to replace broken tile is very simple. So I am using a simple example. Now there are 7 directors, and we need 4 directors to make decisions. 4 is called a quorum. And we've seen in this building so many times where 4 gang up against the other 3, so many times, and it was happening during the last 14 years as well. And there's a current director who would complain to a member of the Owners Action Committee in terms of the division on the board. I will not call your name, but you know me. If need be, I will call your name. I'll call you out. And what I said to my fellow member of OEC, if this director has a problem, why is he just telling you as a member of OEC? What is he doing about it? So we have a bit of hypocrisy in the culture in this building. People who know there is wrongdoing on the board, but they are complicit. Back to the 5 minutes. So then, of the 7 directors, we have 1 director who says, I don't think we should fix it. So you know what? When this director gets his 5 minutes to explain why, normally there's silence. Here's my point, people. I've seen on boards where there are people, all they do is they oppose everything. But when it's time to explain why, they can't. And right now I will tell you this. If I ask the 7 directors on this board, name 5 things you've done to change the culture or to improve this building. Name 5. I know my answer, people. Name 5. And they cannot say, well, oh, we changed the generator. There's a story behind the generator. I will deal with that substantially eventually. It's not my priority right now. So here it is, we have 6 directors who live in this building. And this is what we get. There was a time when the cleaner would clean this corner. And by the way, it has improved in the last few days. So what I'm saying to you people, for the things which are not costing thousands of dollars, this board fails. Look at this. You're telling me that Larry Dinelli, Kirk Segura, Dimitri Sava, the remote manager, I've never noticed that this tile area is not being cleaned properly. Well, it was I, Mike McKenzie, who suggested when I was on the board, how you doing, guy? How you doing? You good? Long time to see. It was I who suggested to tile this area and to paint this area. You know why? I've said it before. Smooth concrete is easier to maintain and keep clean. But who is cleaning this concrete? Look at it. Where is the housekeeping standard? Look at this. No, I'm not going to blame the cleaner because we don't have enough cleaning staff in this building. I'm not too sure in terms of cleaning where the cleaner responsibility ends and Charlie begins. But this is totally unacceptable. Look at it. Look at the filth. Not when I was on the board. This place was kept clean. And it should be kept clean. But there's a garbage standard on this board. Filth is part of the culture, and it is totally unacceptable. Well, look at this area. And by the way, people, the condominium had a scrubber before to scrub the floor and to buff the floor. There was a time when it's summertime, winter is over, the basement floor was cleaned, and we had a buffer to give it a sheen. Where's the buffer? A lot of equipment disappear. A lot of equipment malfunction. There was a time when I found our $6,000 steam cleaner being used outside by a contractor. Okay? How is that possible? Our equipment was being used by a contractor. Garbage. And here's a question, people. Why are we contracting someone to do such a simple job to repair tiles? Why are we doing that? It is costing us too much money in this building because we should have someone on the inside who is capable of doing basic stuff. And I'm not saying that person has to be Charlie. During my time, we hired what we call a maintenance specialist. $3,000 a month. And here's what we got for $3,000 a month. Our former superintendent, Thomas, for $3,000 a month, he repaired the footing of all the column. $3,000 a month. They've never maintained it. Look at this. Since I got the support of the board to maintain these columns, in the last 14 years, they've done nothing. So what will happen eventually, they will hire someone at great expense, okay? This is what these people have been doing with our money. Totally irresponsible. Look at these columns. That is why I'm saying integrity, property management company is not fit to manage this building. Look at this. Look at these people. Because Larry Dinelli's position is he takes orders from the board, which is true. But when it comes, look at this, people. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. If you want the receipts, I will give you the receipts. How many times have I pleaded with these people to maintain the columns? How many times? How many times? Look at this. How many times? How many times? Look at this. Okay, it's a damn disgrace. How many times? And again, here is a piece of equipment. There was a time when our superintendent and assistant superintendent would cut the lawn. We didn't hire landscapers, and the property was kept much better. They would cut the grass, they would clean up the snow, and they were capable of painting doors without hiring an outside contractor, okay? My issue with this board and this management company, I have not seen any substantive improvement in our building since Integrity Property Management was hired. I am not too sure who did this job, but there's no damn way you could do a job like this in my apartment and leave it this way. Okay? No damn way. Okay? We got filth over here. We got filth right here. We're paying for a cleaning service. We got a garbage bin that needs to be cleaned. We got a culture in this building which is just downright nasty and filthy. That's the culture of management and the board, and it is totally unacceptable. We work too hard. We work too hard for this. We're not getting value for our money. We've had enough of this. Enough is enough. Okay, and I'm just dealing with the flooring. Now, Kirk Segura, John Murdoch, and the rest of you guys on the board, Larry Dinelli and Dimitri Sava, were you aware that these grout lines, we have an issue? Were you aware that the cleaner in mopping this floor, leaving excessive water, the water is going underneath the tiles, and you can feel it sometimes when you walk? Are you aware of that? 5 months. 5 months it took these people to repair this with mix match tile. It is standard practice in this building before this regime took over. Where are the extra tiles when this job was done? You normally keep a few tiles just in case one breaks. In fact, I will check my apartment. The color of this tile is not far off from what I used in my apartment, okay? It would be a closer match than this. And here it is, we got some cracked tiles. Eventually these will go as well. Not being cleaned properly, not maintained properly. And I will end with this one. The ringer for the bucket that the cleaner used has been broken for months. And the last time I checked, which was not long ago, it was still broken. And Sujit refused to replace it. Why is that important, people? Because the cleaner could not wring the mop out sufficiently, and oftentimes he was leaving the floor wet. So many times I've contacted the office, especially when there were no wet floor signs, over and over and over. In fact, it was only recently when the cleaner mopped just opposite the management office mailbox area and there is no wet floor sign. I'm not going to blame the cleaner. The cleaner is doing a reasonably good job. They have reduced the cleaning service that we pay for. There was a time we had 2 cleaners. And that is why when we check this building, whether we check the stairwell or different parts of the building is not being cleaned properly. The building is not being cleaned properly because there is not enough hours and resources for cleaning. It's a nasty culture on the board for the last 14 years. They care little for housekeeping. Look at this. It's supposed to be a condominium. We have Toronto Community Housing, which is clean much better. Much better. And they think it's okay? No, it's not. It's not okay. We work too hard to not get value. We get nothing as owners in this building. They close our swimming pool, so we can't even use the pool, those of us who use it. The men's men's sauna locker room, it has been in a state of disrepair for maybe going 7 months. I'm still waiting for an answer. I'm still waiting for Sujit to answer some basic questions. When Michael took over interim, 6 hours a day, he made it clear that I have to wait until Sujit comes back to answer these questions. According to the notice, Sujit is expected back. I believe it was May 1st. If he comes back, in my mind. But whether Sujit comes back or not, it is irrelevant. It cannot be business as usual in our condominium, in the management office. It cannot be business as usual. 2 years. And what has Integrity Property Management and the board done in the last 2? Look at this. It's a damn disgrace. Look at this. Are you kidding me? There is no way in hell with the staff we had before that this would be like this. And the next logical step is to bring in public health to check for black molds. This looks very moldy. This area has been leaking for at least 10 years. And I can see molds. So why not bring in public health to test for molds? Because when I talked about molds, with this regime that took over the board, nobody responded to any correspondence. Nobody. Things will escalate. I will not allow these people to tamper with my legacy. The legacy for my family when one day I'm gone. Transition. Look at this. Look at this. It's a damn disgrace. I remember when I did a tour with Larry Dinelli, and I came to this area, which is uneven. And he mentioned, oh yeah, they're going to be working on the garage. You know what? I'm going to leave the garage for a separate video. Wait a sec. I hope this is not a new leak. I hope this is not a new leak. Let me go to the latest leak. Let me go to the latest leak. This is the latest leak in the garage, people. Just outside the boiler room, the latest leak. See it? Our garage is pissing water. Every spot you see a pylon is a leak. Look at this. Look at this, people. Look how filthy these pipes are. Let me just inform you guys. The garage is considered a common element under the Condominium Act, just like the hallways, stairwells, and it should be cleaned. Look at this. Are you kidding me, people? Look at this. You're telling me they washed the garage? Look at this. Are you kidding me? There is no way in hell that the board that I was on, anything in this building could be this filthy. But like I said, it's a nasty culture. Nasty culture. I'm sure the directors have very clean apartments. But when it comes on to managing the people's business, it's a culture of nastiness. Filth. Look at this. Look at this, people. Look at this. Look at this. And this is what happens when there are no housekeeping standards anywhere. Look at this. Let me talk about the ceiling, people. Let me talk about this. Let me talk about this. Superintendent Charlie is well aware of spot 135, and so is the board, and so is integrity property management. When my neighbor Maureen parked in this spot, Charlie would be scraping the ceiling which falls on her vehicle, okay? I asked them to scrape the thing off before they wash the garage. Okay? We asked them, scrape the thing before you wash the garage so it doesn't fall on the vehicle. They ignore my correspondence. Things are falling on my car right now. Totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. When was the last time the cleaner cleaned the buffer zone? And here's another thing, people. Look at the filth again. Look how nasty this is. There is no standard in this building. It's a standard of nastiness, and this is supposed to be a condominium. Look at this. Look at this, people. Is this what we're paying for? Totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. This is not Toronto community housing. Okay? And every time I ask them to do better, they just ignore my correspondence. Because we got a king, in my opinion, running the board, like a Donald Trump, in my opinion. So the king runs the building, and his number one target, and I will prove it, is Mike McKenzie. Okay? I'm going to get into the bias, and I'm going to get in the attack separately. But this is nastiness. This is nastiness. Look at this. What are we paying for? Take a closer look. Take a closer look. Before the garage was washed, and there was agreement, I asked them to paint the buffer zone. And we need to expand it just a wee bit. Okay? My car was hit years ago. That's before we had the mirror. Okay? And the person who hit my car was speeding in the garage. Okay? You can see when you look at the mirror, you can see my car. So as I'm coming out, the mirror will show this way. If a car is coming, I will see the light. So the mirror has kept me safe. But once in a while, there are people speeding in this lane. You know why? When we put in the speed bumps, there was a complaint to take one set out. And ever since we took it out, they've been speeding. So there are a couple lanes that they speed. They speed in this lane, and I'll show you the other, and they speed also in this lane. Always speeding in the garage. Okay? Cars are always speeding in this garage. Okay? So we had speed bumps here, we took them out because people complained, right? Speeding in the garage. Lane over here, this lane. And I'm going to show you the next lane that they're speeding in the garage. And every time the security guards note the speeding, nothing is done. Not a damn thing is done. Because they do, how you doing? They do take the reports, okay? So we got speeding. Almost every day I see speeding, okay? We had speed bump here, and the owners complain, right? They're speeding. And recently there were 4 kids riding their scooters in the garage, okay? 4 youths, boys, riding the scooters in the garage, okay? So imagine, how would you feel if that was your son, grandson, whatever, and a speeding driver hit the scooter? Think about that one. Because here's my message to you guys in this building. You always believe it's not about you, it won't affect you, and you don't care, some people. But what if one of those 4 boys was connected to your family? They obviously did not get permission from their parents to be riding scooters in the garage a few days ago. I don't think anyone on the Owners Action Committee or in this building, I don't think any informed and caring parent would want their children to be riding scooters in the garage. Okay, people? How do you feel after all these years of me complaining about speeding that your child was in an accident? How would you feel? Look at this. Look at this. They refuse to clean the garage properly. This is common element. It has not been cleaned, some of these things, since the building was built. Nastiness. Nastiness, people. We're not talking about the cost of addressing the deficiencies in the garage. My estimate could be at least $2 million. Oh, look at this. This was when they were working on the sprinkler system. Nobody took the time to clean it up. Like I said. Garbage. Look at this. So we have no standard for cleaning. No standard for steam cleaning the carpets in the floor. No standard for pest control. And things are going to be escalated. Guaranteed. And all the cracks at the front of the building, with the bylaw coming in, putting the building under a compliance order, and there have been 3 attempts to fix the cracks, and instead of hiring a professional to repair the cracks, our poor superintendent Charlie, who admitted he's not a mason, but he's got to save his job. He's got to save his job. Unacceptable. Things will be escalated. We're not going to take this one. We deserve better as owners in a condominium. We're not living in Toronto community housing. Nastiness everywhere. Everywhere is nastiness. We're going to see this year if they're going to clean the garage, if they're going to clean the windows, and why are they cleaning the garage fall, just before the winter? That's a bit stupid if you ask me. Most buildings, the garage is cleaned when winter is over. What's the point of cleaning a garage November or when the winter and the snow is almost about to fall? Stupid. Makes no sense. But they never listen to advice, people. Let's talk about my parking spot. We got stuff dropping in my parking spot nowadays, right? Flaking stuff. Okay? That's what's going on in my parking spot. Flaking ceiling, all right? And this wall was never cleaned properly. Dimitri Sava, Sojit, and from what I understand, it was Kirk who directed Sojit, while the garage was being washed, the floor that is, they refused to put the hose on the wall, and my spot was left filthy. And when I asked Sajid, like, what's going on? He said, oh, it was not in the specification. I'm going to publish the video just before the garage was washed to show you that there's a lack of care, a lot of consideration for owners by these folks who are supposed to be serving us. And it's not good. Have a good night, people.